Okay, I'd like to call to order our regular Marketing Communications Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 10th, and I don't have the time. We're starting the meeting, it looks like, at about 9:05. And today's members who are present, myself, Tracy Louthan, and Jill Tanner. So we will not have a quorum today, I guess, which means we'll just review the minutes at the next meeting and get approval for those. So I really guess today is going to be an update of information from the director and maybe a marketing update from Matt. And would you like to present? Okay. Well, I guess what's the updates? I think for the purpose of this is to come together and kind of hear what's going on the marketing front. Yes, lovely. Thank you, Kelly.
Hello. All right. So first of all, this is the very first meeting that I've attended since the recent move to the director of marketing. So I'd say welcome, but I've already said that to you guys. So there's only just a few of us here today.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Very pleased to be here. And as you both know, I've been with the tourism department for 15 years, so since 2006, seems like forever. All of that, but 2 years was spent in the marketing department. So very up to date on what's going on in the marketing department. I do feel that my 2 years I spent in sales was very advantageous because of all of the things that sales wants to do that's in the marketing world, and I'm doing a lot of things to help them move forward with a lot of things that they want to do that they maybe weren't able to do before. So Karen Morris, which is the director of sales, she's not here today, and she did ask that I give you guys a little update. So if you'll bear with me for just a moment, I will give you her update. She wanted to let you guys know that she's participating and sponsoring industry conferences through mid-December. Last week, Lisa Bulris participated in Connect Texas, where she met with 39 meeting planners one-on-one. They're also sponsoring the MPI event in Jacksonville November 15th, where they'll have an opportunity to present South Walton as a meetings destination to approximately 100 people. They are participating in FICP, which is Financial and Insurance Conference Planners, and Connect Meeting Medical Technology in November, and attending American Express Meetings and Events annual meeting in December. So over the last couple of weeks, we also completed a meetings video shoot to really showcase, the different, not just the newer meeting properties that we have, but also the destination through meeting planners' eyes. There's a lot more to South Walton than just a boardroom, so we made sure we showed things like bonfires and having lunch at different restaurants and a lot of the things that you can do when you're here for a meeting that, is kind of outside of the box. We made sure we showcased a lot of that.
I have a random question. So you'll have a lot of raw footage. I guess you could also repurpose that, it sounds like, for leisure audience as well with bonfires and...
We did. So actually in the... we've got a whole video production that we're going to do over the next year. I'll get into that in the marketing update. But yeah, no, actually it was more along the lines of we are using what was kind of more leisure, and showing how you can come back for a leisure vacation. You can enjoy yourself while you're here and group business, and there's so much for you to do. And then when you're ready to come for your family vacation, we're here and waiting. So it's a lot of that.
Or bring your family with you, right? And then extend your stay, which is a great
either
message.
way you want to look at it, because if you do bring your family and you're stuck in this, your family can go enjoy all of the other things, whether it's state parks, dining, whatever else we happen to have offer. So there's a lot of that in that video. So it's a little bit non-traditional, which I feel like kind of showcases my time in the sales department. I would have probably 3 years ago been, they have everything they need. What more could they possibly want? But after 2 years being there, I realized that there's so many ways that we can present South Walton to meeting planners, to groups, to other things through the leisure visitor. So that there's a lot of things, and not only is the leisure visitor is typically is probably someone that goes to meetings. So when they're getting asked about where they want to go, make sure that South Walton is one of the places that we're doing that. So if you're on LinkedIn, we are seeing like great strides with everything we're trying to do, marketing sales over there, because those are the people that are going places, doing things, going to meetings, and those are the professional people, but they're also coming here for a vacation. So we're really trying to leverage both of those together.
Love that. Leisure is definitely a growing market. And glad we're
So,
capitalizing on that. And when that video comes out, will we be posted through the connections?
yeah, as soon as it's ready, we'll let it show. We just finished shooting it last week, so it'll be a little bit, but yeah. And we did it in-house. We just had Zinder come over and help us do it, and we did it, you know how I do. I'm like, hey, you busy Thursday night? You want to be background girl for? So the same way, we always do those kind of things to try to keep the cost down.
Thank you.
So, and in addition to that, they're also looking at planning a meeting planner FAM in February for maybe about 10 guests, and they're going to be sending emails out soon because they really want to showcase not just the meeting properties, but the whole destination. So meetings has a lot of things going on, and the one thing I can say is that my time in the meetings sales department really helps me make sure that the marketing team is serving the needs of the sales department, and also thinking outside of the box on how we can continue to not only serve them but grow as well. So that I'm very proud of my 2 years I spent in the sales department, because I just think it makes it better. So speaking of segueing from sales to a different department, the marketing department, there's just the four of us right now, myself. And for those of you who don't know, Carly Morgan has joined the marketing department. You probably know her as Carly McMillan. She's Carly Morgan now. She is taking over all in-market and out-of-market events. So, and with her move to the marketing department, we also took all leisure trade shows, because that is just something that she excels at, and it makes perfect sense to do those in-market and out-of-market events. We have kind of a tiered program that we're looking at for out-of-market events, everything from a travel and adventure show that would be more of a trade show, to partnering with iHeartMedia to just put on mid-level events, to partnering like we did this past weekend with the Emerald Lagasse Foundation to put on large level events, to remind people that South Walton is here for whatever kind of vacation they're looking for. And Carly is leading the charge on that. She's also taken over the events program, which was my baby for years, and it couldn't be in better hands. So I'm super excited about that. So Jill, you've probably already worked with her on a couple of things, just depending on what's going on, but she's taken that over and she's running with it, and it's better than ever, and super pleased with that. So she is actually one of those people like me. She's now spent time in communications sales, and now she's in marketing. So it's really, she's very well-rounded. So anything that the marketing department needs, she's there to help with. So it's really good. I have to quit stealing employees from the rest of but everybody wants to join the marketing team. Why wouldn't you want to join the marketing team? We also had a marketing specialist, and Patty, which was in the communications department, and she's still working there until Matt gets some people, because he says, I can't just take her. I don't know. He's got all these rules. And but she's also going to come over, and she is very interested in traveling and learning about how we can push forward the South Walton message in market and out of market. Obviously, she's a wonderful photographer, and she'll be a great help to Courtney Malone, who's already our creative brand manager. So pretty well-rounded team. We have one other spot, but we're going to keep it open for a while till we figure out, where we are. So we're getting on the ground running, and change is change. It's not always a bad thing. It's not always a good thing. It just keeps us moving forward. So the marketing department is here for, whatever you guys have going on. The other couple of big things I wanted to talk to you about is the mural program. We are working with Cultural Arts Alliance to create a Walton County mural program. Courtney Malone is heading that up. And it's basically, let's beautify Walton County. We have all these spaces. We have all these wonderful artists. How can we bring the two of them together and create these beautiful murals? You know, Grayton already has some. A lot of places in Walton County has some, but it will extend the whole county. So we're working with Cultural Alliance to put out a call to artists to get people that want to do the big murals, because I'm not much of an artist, but apparently it's a big deal to be able to create a big mural piece. So we're going to work with Cultural Arts, and we're going to get that out, and we're going to do as much as we can to beautify Walton County from the Alabama line to the Gulf. So that's going to be a project you're going to continue to see move forward. And then in addition to what I spoke about earlier, last weekend, we partnered with the Emerald Lagasse Foundation, and we were the presenting sponsor of their largest weekend that they have for the donor program that they do, which also funds children's charities here in Walton County, like Food for Thought. And we were the sponsor on Friday night. Jim Richard from Stinky's Fish Camp attended with us, and he made some weird food, and it's like octopus ceviche. I don't know. It was very weird. But everyone loved it. So, and he made a wonderful goat cheese cheesecake. I could have ate my weight in it. So it was very good. And we were in New Orleans to do that. And in addition, that was Friday night. We were the sponsor. And then Saturday night, we were the sponsor for the gala. And we had Justin Gaffrey there create a painting on site. So really looking at like former artists of the year and how we can partner with them and continue to move forward and do those types of things. The Justin Gaffrey painting, I'm not sure how much it went for, but it started at $5,000. We also, in our little South Walton niche corner, we had Emerald's Coastal Italian head chef Frank Szymanski with us as well. So just continuing to, let everybody know that we want to work with anyone who's willing to work with us, and we want to take them on the road and do the different things, because it's hard to doubt how wonderful a South Walton vacation can be when you're presented with authentic South Walton art, authentic South Walton food, and just authentic South Walton people. So
take the beach with you.
Yeah, we've done that before too, but that's a little harder. But those are just some of the things that we've got going on. I'm always here if anybody needs anything, and my team is Matt's going to talk about Perfect. My team's working behind the scenes to create the Perfect guides. Of course, we're recreating the visit guides and then updating some of the other guides that we have going on. So we'll have those as well. And Matt's team gets those out if anybody's interested in having any of those. So.
And tell us a little bit about the partnership with Zender. I assume that's intact. I don't know when that is up for renewal, and how we'll continue to work with them on, and the timing, I guess, in terms of planning and keeping everything on track.
Yeah, September is a renewal. So we just renewed, so we're good there.
Great.
And Zender is very important for us to keep things moving forward.
Consistency.
Very important for consistency. And they're willing. I have a team of 4 people, including myself. So there's only so much 4 people can do, but they have a team of 30-something people that our team can rely on to get things done. So it's great that, when someone comes with a big idea, how we can make these things work. And so they're really helping us execute all of the different things that are really setting us above our partners. In addition to that, one of the things that are going to launch in probably the next month or so is the supplemental co-op program. So as a partner, if you're seeing your business is down a little bit and you think you could utilize some help from the co-op plan, instead of having to wait until next June, we do have some online stuff that we're going to offer that's going to be available year round. And so we've been working real hard behind the scenes to get that website up and running, and it's probably going to launch. I got to get the final approval from Jason, and it'll probably launch in December. So anyone who's interested in maybe having a little push for that January, February, when we tend to have a little bit of a dip, those programs will be available. The way we've designed this program is the moment you say you want to be a part of it, you go ahead, you upload all of your stuff, you pay, you do everything, it goes immediately to them. They start working on it then, and within 3 to 4 weeks, you have a campaign up and running. So really trying to get those things out there, because we know that this is the time of the year that our partners need a little bit of the extra push.
And it's great. I know we can leverage their buying power and their relationships with the media, because they're buying in bulk. So again,
Exactly.
really great rates and really huge value.
especially digital. We're seeing, I mean, we're seeing the investment is so nominal at, $400, $600, $800. You would never be able to go buy that on like Google Ad Space. So there's just so much about being able to utilize what we're already doing and the buying power that they have. So
Absolutely. So I was also just thinking about the strategic planning process, and again, where I know the partners really lean on Visit South Walton is to be able to go into those markets that maybe don't know us as much, those emerging markets, those secondary markets. And
yes,
so,
we're working on that plan as well. We're going to do a full-on strategic planning. Jason's working on that now with RFQP.
all the letters.
All the things. So we're working on that now. And then my team is also looking at, we're looking at where direct flights are coming from. One of the places, that seems really wild, we have direct flights to Denver now. So those people are looking for adventure tourism. So maybe we go and we look at a travel and adventure show in Denver to show them that they can have both sides. They live in the mountains, can easily get to the beach. We're definitely looking at all of the different emerging markets, but we're not forgetting, that Atlanta, New Orleans, Nashville, Dallas is our bread and butter. We did go to Dallas 3 weeks ago. We participated with the Cattle Barons Ball there. It's the single largest fundraiser for the American Cancer Society in all of the U.S., and they've raised over $86 million since inception. So we've got to be a part of that. So while we are looking for newer and fun things, we're also making sure that we're still top of mind with Atlanta, Nashville, and those places that, if they stop coming, then might not be such a great thing. Absolutely. So definitely looking at all that, and that's one of the things that Carly's working really hard on is this plan of we've got large trade shows that are, like a travel and adventure show and that sort of thing, and then we've got what we call mini activations we're working with iHeartMedia, which is a new partnership that we come up with. They put on like the iHeart Radio Festival and all of that. They put on a lot of small little wine festivals that the average income is very where we would like it to be, but it's a much smaller scale. So they only sell 700-800 tickets, so the size of like a Harvest Wine, something like that. But we can go into their market and be the only destination there. So already talking to people that maybe are familiar with us, maybe that aren't, but looking at those in like Franklin, Louisville, some of those places where they know us a little bit, but not as much. So a lot of those types of things there.
And I know Carly's done a lot with the wine events in Franklin, and that is a very right market for us.
Yes, and so we also partner with the Wine, Women, and Shoes events. The biggest thing for us is we want to be the only, for those smaller events like that, we want to be the only destination there. We want to be super exclusive, and we've got a really good contact with the lady that puts those on, and she just continues wanting to partner with us. So for Birmingham, Atlanta, Louisville, Franklin, and then a couple of other outlier markets that maybe we wouldn't have thought of, but because they have the partnership there, it's like, Little Rock, St. Louis, some of those kind of places. So just looking at what we can do there without forgetting the large things like the Emeril Lagasse Foundation. We're a complete sponsor of everything they do the whole year. So everywhere Emeril Lagasse goes, whether he has an event, South Walton, whether we have a person there or not, we have a presence there. So it's just continuing to leverage those partnerships.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll hand it over to Matt.
Well, good morning. It's kind of nice having a small crowd of two familiar faces, so, I don't have to spend a whole ton of time introducing myself just because I've worked with both of you, in the past, so that's kind of a nice starting point here. So, I always tell people in the communications department that we're essentially the storytellers of the organization. So, that's everything from just talking about what we do to sharing the stories of our partners and the businesses that, make this destination what it is. So for me, I just had a few updates I wanted to kind of mention. It's funny because I said a few and then I started like jotting down things I wanted to make sure I mentioned as I was sitting there. So I think first and foremost, Artist of the Year and Perfect Awards. So we did just wrap up our interviews with the finalists for the Artist of the Year program. So that was real exciting to kind of see and hear the stories of those individuals. We'll be announcing those in January, kind of at the same time that we announce our Perfect Award winners. So, it's kind of this great excitement because we all know and we're like, wow, this is really cool, but got to kind of keep it under the hat for a little while. So we've got those working. Kind of a little bit of what Kelly talked about with, within her department. I was gracious enough to allow her to take Patty and just, Tracy's familiar with Patty because Tracy is Patty's mentor for the Leadership Walton. So you're going to get to learn a lot about Patty and what she has to offer. Tremendous asset, and I'm incredibly thankful that, I get to keep her until I can find a suitable replacement, which is going to be a tough task. But, inside the communications department, once Patty leaves, we'll have 2 openings. So one is going to be a content and public relations specialist. So we have that position advertised out right now. So just saying, if you may know somebody, point them over to the Walton County website, and I'd love to have them fill out an application. We also have a database specialist position available, and that person is essentially the heart of our CRM. We've kind of done without that position for, probably about a month and a half or so now. But I think this is a perfect opportunity to also, highlight the benefits of having somebody on board like Zender. So given the absence of someone in that position, Zender's taken up a lot of those responsibilities. So, without that partnership with them, I feel like we'd have been in a much more difficult place than we are now. So at least we've kind of had them to fill some of the gaps there. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Some of the other projects we have going on, the more we kind of look at what we do and how we operate and kind of, based on feedback from committees and advisory committees and people in the community, we realized that we needed to do a better job talking about who we are and what we do, and kind of clearing up some of the confusion that can be out there about our organization. So one of the things we've done is we've created a project we're calling the Walton County Line, and it's essentially a newsletter that we're going to be sharing throughout the community, just telling different stories about, great things happening in the county as a whole, but also using it as an opportunity to focus on some of the partnerships and the things that we do that people may not realize that in turn come back and benefit the community as a whole. So the inaugural edition of that should be coming out in the South Walton Life newspaper. We've partnered with them because they have the ability to, print an insert that they'll essentially just, include in their publication. So that should be hitting, mailboxes here shortly. So that's going to be a 16-page insert. So it's something we're going to be doing regularly. So, we're always going to be looking for opportunities to have ideas and people to share stories that might be, a good fit for telling in that publication. So, when that first edition comes out, I think you'll kind of get the flavor of what we're doing and what, we're kind of envisioning with that. But we also have a website in the works that we're hoping to launch here shortly to kind of, work hand in hand with that to give people another opportunity to, access that same content. So, that's something we're really excited about. And we did recently share our summer visitor tracking report. So you all probably should have gotten that, in the connection as well. But I think, there were a couple things on that I wanted to highlight, just kind of looking at, this summer compared to summer of 20. So some of the key metrics, were fantastic. We did see an increase in the number of visitors. It was a 7.8% increase. We saw a 13.2 increase in the number of room nights, as well as a 21% increase in the direct spend for the summer season. So, that survey was roughly a little more than 1,000 participants, and they did that between June and August. So I think, what I also saw that kind of stood out to me was that there was a pretty dramatic increase in the number of first-time visitors. So we saw it was nearly 400,000 new first-time visitors. So, what that tells me is, that we're doing a good job. And I think people are discovering the destination and what it has to offer. And, as visitation ebbs and flows and as more destinations open up and travel becomes a little bit easier, hopefully as we get to the tail end of COVID, we're going to see, some of the numbers we have been seeing probably drop a little. So I think it's just understanding that, we still have to be active and we still have to, seek out new visitors to come, explore South Walton. So.
Matt, I mean, I completely agree. I think we have very much benefited from the fact that COVID shut down a lot of the competitive set, if you will. Again, limiting that international travel, cruises not being an option. Again, South Walton has very much benefited, and as you mentioned, gained a lot of new guests to the destination. And I think that is very much going to be our challenge moving forward once the market COVID becomes less of a problem and travel opens again. How do we remain competitive? How do we become that choice? Because people are chomping at the bit to resume different types of vacations other than just a beach vacation. So I think
Exactly.
we're going to have to get more creative than ever to keep these numbers high.
I agree. And one of the other numbers I did want to mention on that was just to, I know we like to talk about ADR and look at that. So for summer 2021, the ADR was a 24% increase over 20. So I'd say that's pretty substantial. That's,
Very substantial.
definitely something, worth mentioning. And you all may recall, we did make, recently a more concerted effort to talk about beach safety. It's something that's important to everybody that lives in this destination, but it's also important to the people that come to visit. If we're going to encourage people to come visit and come enjoy what we have to offer, we want to do everything we can to make sure they stay safe while they're here. So as part of our summer study, we did put in some questions related to beach safety. So a couple of the things that stood out to me was that 95% of summer visitors know that there are flags along the beach that indicate the safety of being able to get in the water.
That's fantastic.
So more than 4 in 5 visitors are aware of what the flags mean. Pretty telling. And then 47% are aware that entering the Gulf on a double red flag may result in a fine. So it's good to see that A, people know that the flags are there, and B, that people know what they mean. Because I think,
Now it's just getting compliance.
well, and that's it. And I think, as you talk to people and you hear people talk about it, I think sometimes there's an assumption that maybe people don't understand, what that flag message means. So it was kind of nice to see these numbers show that that's not necessarily the case.
Yes, I would say I believe one of the most successful campaigns that you've done is actually in the treks, boardwalks, again, providing information, because you're looking at the ground as you're walking out to the beach and it's telling you about the flag warning system and what the flags mean. And whose ever idea that was, I think it was very creative and effective.
Wish I could take credit for that. But, I think, we're looking at any and all avenues to, share that messaging. So, we restarted the program where we'd launched the banner plane. So basically on what we call a transition day is where it shifts to double red flags. We've partnered with Boomer Aviation, and we call them when that transition day occurs, and they'll launch their banner plane out of Panama City, and they fly that banner plane from one side of the county to the next with the big double red flag message on it. We've also done other kind of more subtle and simple things, like we've created beach safety pens that have the number you can text to get the beach flag updates sent to your cell phone. It also just kind of talks, the beach safety website where you can go for more information. So if you all know anybody who wants some beach safety pens, we've got some free of charge. We're more than happy to share those. I think they're great for restaurant partners. I've spent many years in my prior life working in restaurants, and I know that servers always need pens. So it's a great way to get that message in front of our visitor. Super easy. So those were kind of some of the big takeaways I had from the summer visitor tracking report. Just a couple other small things I wanted to make note of. We did renew the Turner contract in November. So Turner's back on board with us as our PR agency. They've recently sent me their annual strategy, so I've got to sit down and kind of digest that. But I think we've got some great ideas, and we've got some things that we really want to look forward to doing in 2022. So, I think there's a lot of great opportunities ahead of us. And, for the record, I couldn't say enough about how helpful, Turner's been to me coming into this position, just being patient and kind of making sure that, I had all the knowledge I needed and all the, details for why we do what we do. I want to make sure you obviously understand everything that we're doing and why we're doing it. And, I'm a firm believer in you don't just do something because that's the way you've always been doing it. So they've been super helpful in making sure that, we're both on the same page and we know what we're doing going forward. Given COVID, it's been a little challenging, with travel writers. I mean, we've still seen some. We've had a handful, come so far and show interest. I think it's just a matter of doing what makes sense and not, putting people in positions that, are just not appropriate. So we do have a travel writer coming at the end of December that we're really excited about. Her name is Wendy Altschuler. She's been to the destination before, and she has incredible clips, and she's got great contacts. So we feel like it's truly, someone who we know is going to garner some great coverage and tell the story the way it should be told. So she's going to be here, I think it's December 27th through 30th. So it's kind of nice because she's coming down to do a family-friendly focus trip. So, we're always looking for opportunities to showcase what's available and kind of what we would consider the shoulder season. And so, I think by having her kind of come down at the end of December, it's kind of, it's a time of year where I think we're starting to see more activity, just because people are starting new traditions and approaching the holidays in a little bit of a different way. And I think, South Walton is perfectly positioned for those multi-generational family vacations. So it kind of makes sense. So it seemed kind of like a natural fit that, that was a good time of year to bring her to the destination. So.
Sure. And who is she writing for?
So she has bylines with Condé Nast Traveler and Forbes and a lot of the top publications. And Kelly actually was part of hosting Wendy. Was that back in, we said 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Got a great following. Great. Yes. A friend of the destination. Okay. Wow. A lot of angles. Cool.
Yeah, and I think, her focus is family friendly, but I think to the point Kelly made, she's very much into like outdoors. So, we've just packed an itinerary full of awesome outdoor activities and, adventures. And I think the beauty of it is she's coming from Chicago, which is where she lives. So, the end of December in South Walton is not the same as December in Chicago. So I think it'll be plenty warm for her. So yeah, it's just great to see that, we continue to have these great relationships with travel writers who, want to tell our story, because at the end of the day, I go back to being the storytellers of the organization. So, anything we can do to foster those relationships, we're going to do that. And, any opportunities we have to work, directly with partners to help tell their stories, that's always something we're willing to do. And I think, we try to make our team available when we can to, assist with different projects. And, we're fortunate that Patty is a certified drone pilot. And I know, we have kind of worked with Jill in the past and, was able to help shoot some aerial drone photography for there. So, we're always looking for ways that we can assist and ways that we can help our partners. So, those were kind of just the few points I wanted to touch on. Just make it known that I'm always here, always available to help or answer any questions. So,
My last question,
Yes.
The Turner strategic plan, when you guys finalize that, will that be available through the partners' website so we
Yeah.
can see the direction?
we can certainly make that available.
Perfect, awesome, thank you.
You're
Thank you, Matt.
welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank
We've
you,
already spent a
Jason.
lot of time talking this morning, and I appreciate you guys being here so much. You guys know we have an amazing team. So Matt, Kelly, Patty, Cindy. Poor thing's going to have carpal tunnel after all these meetings that she gets to work with, but I appreciate them all because we really are a family, and it means a lot. So you brought some good points, and I made a couple notes so that I'd make sure that I'd get up and talk a little bit about them. If you weren't aware, of course, a couple of years ago, we did a transportation program. It was a pilot program. It was an opportunity. And for some odd reason, I like to volunteer for things. I was in the Navy, and they say it's never again volunteer yourself. And I did not pay attention. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that on. Let's do this. So everybody behind me drove a golf cart during that time period. So in 52 days, we moved 18,000 riders at Grayton, from the parking lot down to Grayton. And that's amazing. But the exposure that we got, the time that we got to spend with the guest here was so valuable and so worth the 12, 15, 18-hour days. And, the impact that brought to the community really helped resonate, I think, throughout the whole county for people to go, this could work, we could do this, we could repeat this in other places, and it might be able to take a quality of life initiative and really make it better for not just the visitors, but also the people that live here. So that's something we want to push forward with. And so we're working on that again, looking at other areas, in the Miramar area especially, and, Brian's working, on some parking initiatives up there, and we're looking at golf place as well as a possibility in the future to put a program just to get people from a parking area to the beach access where we've got lots of room for everybody to get down there and spread out. It's important. And plus, like I said, I met people that drove down. The amount of day drivers that come into the region from places like Dothan were impressive, because I talked to so many at Grayton that were like, we just came down here, the Red Bar was the opening. We came down for dinner. I was like, from Dothan. So that was impressive in itself. So we're hoping to move forward with that. We do have our trams in now. We redesigned them. If you haven't seen them, they look like it's the same company that built the safari trams for Disney. So we were like open air, just in case we go back into a COVID section. Plus, it's fun. Open air concept, very safe, seat belt, same seat manufacturers, Bluebird, that makes the seats for the school buses. But it looks like an old delivery truck, like a stake bed truck. So faux wood sides, open canopy top, and music. We have speakers. We can talk to the people in the back. We have one that's ADA accessible. And so it worked out really well. Sadly, because of delay in manufacturing, I ordered them in October of last year. We finally got them all in right at the end of the season. I was like, we had one right away, which was good, but that was it. So next year, new plan.
When do you launch, in like March? Or?
We hope to launch in March, so March 1, and we may be doing some improvements to the parking lot at that time as well. We're building a more permanent structure at Grayton so that it can handle the load and then have restrooms. We got a mobile restroom, so I like to, when I go to buy things, I like to spend like multi-purpose. So all of the trams are four-wheel drive and elevated. So if we did have a flood element, we could use them as high water extraction vehicles. So that's, in turn, just made sense. I was like, a couple more thousand each. We can make four-wheel drive. We can do this. We can change the routing of the exhaust to make it work and go through water. So we did that. And then same thing, we got a mobile restroom. We can use that anywhere. We could use it in emergencies. It's just hydraulic, lowers down, has 3 restrooms in it, and an ADA one. So if we have a restroom that goes down in a major beach access, we can pull it down there It's self-containing. So things like that so we're doing that. And I know that's a little bit outside the world of marketing, but it's fun to talk about. But it is representation. So when folks are here, and especially for the first time, you know, you walk in and it's funny because back in the Park Service day, I was like, is that restroom's clean? Something else can go wrong and it's okay. Because they walked in and was like, but did you see that restroom? It's so nice. And they had flowers and it smelled good. So it's the little things like that that really ingrain in people's memory, I think, that makes them want to come back. We talked a little bit about the Visitor Center updates, so the Discovery Center, so we're working with that. Brian's working diligently on that to try to build the scope that's a little more palatable, but yet make it very community-focused and visitor-focused so that we can hopefully move forward with that in the future. The next step would be for it to go out to bid and kind of see what the cost comes back at. Strategic plan, we talked a little bit about that, so we're rolling into a strategic planning year. Last time we put out an RFP, had Bill Geist, who is amazing at destination planning, come in and do a strategic plan. So definitely every committee, the TDC will be the lead point on this. You know, it's going to be a very big focal point on the future. I think it's important that we do that. We stay on course with it. It really gives us, you know, the kind of guideline map out for a destination. I would also like to look at doing a destination master plan, which would be a more long-term plan and vision. Yes, and so to be able to include that, especially with the expanding in the taxing district, it just makes sense, and it's good timing. So I'm looking into both of those this new calendar year. Keep Walton Beautiful. So that initiative is something that's relatively new. It's near and dear. I spent years in the Park Service, and Zender has played a key role in this. They've been talking about it for a while. They were a big initiative in the state of Louisiana on it, and we didn't have a chapter here. We want to do it right, so we're really taking our time to build the foundation. So it'll be an affiliate with Keep America Beautiful, and we'll have our own affiliate, so we'll be Keep Walton Beautiful. I'll have a dedicated staff member. My goal is to have a dedicated staff member to helping oversee that, you know, for the entire county, because I think, you know, and it's in everybody's world, it's like trash, noise, parking is pretty much the biggest, you know, challenges that we face. So if we can do something like trash and do it right and get the communication out there, you know, somebody can go on and pull up their phone and get an app, hit a button and say, hey, I just saw one of those trash bombs explode on the side of 98, you know, where something hit the ground and went everywhere. And then people in the network see it and say, no problem, we got it. We're going to go pick it up. Okay, it's picked up now. Can you pick up the bags? It's at this location, and drop a pin. Those are things that we want to try to make happen. Plus, volunteerism is getting huge. People are enjoying that. You know, groups that come down, either whether it be with schools, you know, churches or other organizations, they want to get out and kind of give back, especially the ones that come here more frequently. And we want to keep those coming here. It's just like what we talked about before is like the attrition rate. You know, it's about 20% per year, and it's going to be more competitive as more things open up. I've said it at every TDC meeting. I was like, numbers are great. We want to keep them great. But there is always that challenge of Home Depot always advertise for a reason. Ford always advertise F-150, number one selling truck in the world, but they'll keep advertising it because they want to keep on top. So we are exploring, you know, possible emerging markets. I just went last weekend up to the Farragut area outside of Knoxville. Farragut, Townsend, that's at the edge of the Smokies. A lot of suburbs for Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. Smith & Wesson just moved their headquarters there. So there's a lot of companies that are moving to the region as well. So I went up there to an event and also kind of check out the area and see. So we're working with that community there and their tourism department there to try to marry up and possibly be exclusive destination at one of their smaller events. So we can kind of maybe bring a new market into the area. So that's all I had.
I do have a question.
Yes.
When you talked about our issues, parking, noise, I know there's been a series of community meetings.
Yes.
And I just wanted to see where we were in that process. I know they've been gathering feedback from the community, bed tax collectors.
They have, and I'll try,
process.
you know, I don't work in the planning department, and this
Sure.
is their initiative. They're
Yeah,
running
yeah,
it.
I just wondered if you had an update.
And I attended both the public meetings so I could try to gain as much as I could input back. And I had a lot of folks reach out to me afterwards and say, hey, you know, what about this? So the, you know, my big focus is on, you know, what's a good answer to some of these, or what are things that we can do, initiatives right away, communication we can get out there. So what they want to do, my interpretation of it, is to have the two public meetings and then have more smaller like steering committee meetings with smaller, like mom and pop, short-term rentals, larger, medium-size and larger, and kind of get more of a bearing of what their challenges are and what they're seeing and what maybe we can do to remedy it at that level. And then at that point, if they're going to move forward with something, we'll try to hold another public workshop and have it centric more on the TDC if needed. But I think their next step is going to be to have those smaller groups before they come back with this set information, because I believe they're trying to build a big foundation on this and try to use other counties nearby. What were your challenges? What worked? What didn't work? Because, all in all, everything that you usually read into it is trash, parking, noise.
That's a great thought. Does that happen?
Yes. The improvement on the Grayton lot that's there now, that is going forward. I think Brian has that. Oh, the restroom? No, you're fine. The restroom facility? On Hotz Avenue? Yes. So right there on the cul-de-sac on the main circle, right across from Dringo's, the county bought an out parcel of property. So what we're doing is part of that land that's there, it's adjacent to it, is also owned by the state. So we're trying to work with them to come up with a better plan to possibly expand the circle a little bit, to make it a little more of you can make a decision to do a U-turn and go right back up to Funiac Street and not turn down Holtz and Lydia, which would save a lot of that racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So make it a little bit bigger, have the tram stop there, the restroom there, and kind of like that restroom be, they're gonna get a lot of input from the community in Grayton. That was a big discussion, and to have a lot of feedback to make it really connect up with the community there. So highlight some of the history. I mean, my vision is to see like a little bit of a timeline, like black and white pictures, maybe against aluminum panels that show like a little bit of a timeline of the development, because it is such a historic beach community. So it's still forward moving. So hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later for that.
It's exciting.
Exciting.
Well, thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
So I think now we would see if there's any I guess I asked any new business, any old business, any committee comments. Jill, do you have anything to add? And since I don't see any other public in the room, I guess without any further discussion,